Welcome back to another segment of Behind the Scenes of the Waltons. I'm going to take some more of your questions in another segment of Ask Judy. If you're enjoying these, please do hit like and subscribe. Question here from Gregory. Speaking of windows, why didn't the show show the stained glass window that Grandpa put in their room for Grandma? It was facing the front of the house, so it should have been in every episode and season from that moment on, but it was never seen again. And what a shame, because it was a gorgeous window. That's a good question. I need to look at that episode again when Grandpa got that stained glass window and where exactly he put it. I believe it was the front window. We did not see that front window very often from inside the house set when we were actually on the soundstage, because usually that was the wall that was out. So typically we shot from that angle. Every once in a while they would put the window back in and it would be and then you did see it from the outside. I'm speculating a couple things. One, it may not have been the same size as the window on the exterior set, and so it might not have fit into there correctly, and it could also be that it was delicate and they didn't want to take any chances of it getting broken on the exterior set, and to constantly be having to take it out and put it in and take it out and put it in each time we were filming to keep it safe, probably more than they wanted to deal with. So another case of something that just was sort of, like maybe they won't notice, or we'll just have to take some dramatic license with that and not do it. Those are my best guesses on why those decisions were made and why we didn't see that window more. Here we have one from Donna. Judy, when filming your part of the story was finished, did you then go to school on the lot? Yes, during the school season, between scenes, or if there was a longer break, they were relighting something, yes, I would go back to our schoolroom. So it wasn't that there was a general school for any minors, any school-age kids on the studio lot. We had our own sort of trailer where we went to school, or initially we had a schoolroom literally on the soundstage, which was tougher because we kind of had to stay quiet more. But then later we had a trailer that we went to school in, and it was parked right outside the soundstage, so we really didn't have far to go. Then said, how often when you were in class on the lot and they came and say they needed you to be fit for filming? Yeah, that definitely happened. And sometimes they thought you'd have more time than you did, and you'd come in, you barely pick up a book and start to do some work, and they go, oh, need you back. So if we were there for less than 20 minutes, we couldn't count it. We were supposed to accumulate 3 hours of school time each day. Some days we made it, but if you had a really heavy episode, you might not make 3 hours. So in which case we would get what we could, and then on a day where we had less filming to do, we would do more than 3 hours, so we would bank school time. Okay, did the teacher on set grade your work, or was your work sent back to your regular school for teachers to grade? Our teacher on set handled everything during the time that we were at the studio for all throughout the filming season. They would do all our grading and all our papers. Nothing went back and forth with our actual high school or junior high or whatever grade we were in. However, you do ask here, did the work come from your regular school teachers, or was it created by the set teacher? At the beginning of each school year, I would go to my own public high school and I would find out what my requirements were, what classes I had to take, what book they were working out of. And so I would get those, I would coordinate with my own high school, and I would take that to the teacher at the studio, and she would help me, and we'd work out a plan for getting through the class during the time we were at the studio. And then I would get a set of grades at the end of our school year at the studio, and I would take those back to my public school for the time that we were on hiatus when I went back to public school. And that was always a mixed bag on how close what the class was doing at my real school was I to what I had been doing at the studio. So sometimes that got challenging when I went back to public school to play catch up, or they were doing some side assignment that I had to get up to speed on really quickly. Sometimes they were doing something totally different. So I had to very quickly get in sync with what was happening with my public school. So definitely some challenges there, but we had great teachers at the studio. So I really enjoyed that, and I enjoyed the one-on-one time that you had with these teachers, because you could dial in on the things that you needed extra help with, and the things that you didn't, you could just get through quickly. So you did really work at your own pace. Question here from Blackie Keaty 1. How far in advance were the shows filmed? I know some shows like soap operas were filmed way ahead of the air date. And when any of you fell ill, okay, so question number 1. So at the beginning of the season, we would start filming around the end of May. And those shows would be ready to be aired by September. So at that point, we were, 3.5 months ahead. But because we took 6.5 days to film, and we only filmed 5 days a week, that started catching up with us. And then we would take, 4-day weekend at Thanksgiving, or we would take maybe a week at Christmas or something. So by the end of the season, we had caught up considerably, and there was nowhere near as much lead time by then. But that's why I talked about, Christmas things or winter scenes being shot in the summer, because we were filming them then, but they were going to be on in the fall. Or in the fall, or, beginning of the year when it was still colder, we were shooting things that were going to be on, in the spring or summer. So it got a little bit like that in order for the timelines to work. And then you asked if any of you fell ill, who had the responsibility to rewrite the episode or episodes. That would be with the production office, with Earl Hamner, with the story editor. Any of those sorts of changes would happen through our in-house people. We did not have a writer's room like shows do today. We did have a story editor, and Earl could at any point write, of course. And then who wrote the theme song for the Waltons? That was the brilliant Jerry Goldsmith. Thank you for joining me for this segment of Ask Judy. I'll be back with more behind the scenes of the Waltons and more Ask Judy. If you have a question you'd like to ask me, do put it in the comments below. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.